Hey everybody, Tekking here. First things first, before we get into it, remember that Luffy and Nami fanfic that I read last week? You know, the one where Nami jumps on top of Luffy's... Yeah, well, part 2 of that is up here, so you can go over to my vlog channel and check that out. It gets steamy, yeah. But, okay, that's that. Moving on to the point of this video... I can't hold it in anymore. I'm sorry. Okay? This was really hard for me. That was a double entendre. Because we were in reverie. Alright? We were in freaking reverie. And we thought that, okay, it wasn't going to be a long arc, but it was going to be like, I don't know, what did the editors say? Like around 10 chapters or some such? We were like 4 chapters into it. 4 chapters into it. Maybe 6, if you want to include both post-chapters, both post-arc chapters from Totland, like the chapter where Luffy got his bounty, and then the next chapter where we introduced the Revolutionary Commanders. Maybe okay, 6 chapters. But that was it, alright? And the title of the last chapter is called Reverie Begins. So we thought it was gonna go places, but no, we're going to Wano in the next chapter. So I'm sorry if that's a spoiler, but is it really a spoiler? Because it's just like one arc is ending and another arc is beginning, so I'm not gonna discuss anything that happens in the actual chapter and that were spoilers, but like, we're at Wano, we're here, it's happening, next chapter, tomorrow, is going to be released. I'm gonna talk about it, it's gonna be nuts. So, I'm sorry, I can't think about anything else to do. I gotta talk about this, okay? So look, here's the situation, alright? I've made a shit ton videos about Wano, okay? And pretty much every single Wano video I've done since back in, like, 2016 is when I made the first one. It's usually like, yeah, Wano's coming right around the corner, guys. I have a feeling Wano's gonna start soon, so I better get this video out. And then like, 3 months will go by and I'll make another video. I'm like, okay, guys, I know I wasn't right the last time, but I'm pretty sure it's right around the corner. Right around the corner. The first one I made was in December of 2016, and I thought, I had this weird idea, I don't know where I could have gotten this, but Wano was gonna start in 2017, so that's why I was getting set for it. Yeah, so I just made a Wano playlist. I just made all of the things you want to, all the things I've related to Wano I've talked about over the years. You just go check that out there. I think there's like 8 or something videos that are related to Wano, including the one I just did about Shusui earlier this week. But this, I just want to take a moment to bask in the emotion, okay? We have waited for this for so damn long, it feels. Now, just a little bit of a recap on when Wano was like the hype of Wano, I guess. Maybe that's what I should have called this video. An analysis of the hype of Wano. And if you want like a proper retrospective and just an analysis and everything, maybe the different themes and stuff that Oda is going to include in Wano, I touch upon that in a few of my videos, but I would also recommend go checking out Joy Boy's video. I'll just make that a card too. Cardapalooza in this video. He did a really good one recently, so yeah, go check that out. But in terms of like the hype of Wano, it was first mentioned back in Thriller Bark, because that's when Ryuma was introduced, and Ryuma, he just shows up as this badass zombie samurai wearing a kimono, holding Shusui and slicing up the entire castle, and he's just generally a badass dude. And you have Hogback off to the side that's like, falsa, he's a special general zombie. Well, he wasn't a special zombie, but he has a special body, and he's from the land of Wano. And I believe that was the first time in the One Piece story that we've ever heard of this country. Now, back then, I wasn't reading One Piece on a weekly basis back during Thriller Bark. I didn't start reading it weekly until Impel Down, so maybe you were. Maybe you can give your opinions on the first time that you heard about this place, but I would imagine the way that you heard about this place was probably the same way that I heard about, like, the Sorbet Kingdom 2 weeks ago, when that was mentioned. It was just brought up. We had no idea it existed beforehand. Is it going to be a big deal? Maybe. I mean, like, we know Bonnie and Kuma are from there, but is the actual kingdom? Like, are the Straw Hats gonna go to the Sorbet Kingdom? Is that gonna be the... Oh, man, I can't wait for the Sorbet Kingdom arc. But back then, I imagine it's kind of a similar thing. Like, oh, he comes from a place called Wano. Alright, we had no idea what it was about, no idea really who was there, aside from there's some badass samurai that apparently hang out. It wasn't until a little bit later in the story that we found out that it was actually this isolated country, and it was rolled, basically it's based off feudal Japan, so you have like a shogun, you have an emperor, probably, and all that stuff. It was mentioned during Marineford during Orz's flashback, so once again, it was something that just really kind of tied into, like, Oda's whole style, where he, he doesn't just invent a new island for every single occasion, sometimes he ties them back up, right? The whole thing with the cover story, Eneru's Great Space Operation, those automata that were created on Earth, the ones by that old dude, they were created in the future land of Baltimore, which is the same island that Frankie got sent to, and of course, Vegapunk is from. So, this was tied back into Wano whenever Orz was having his little flashback about Ace and how he made the Casa hat for him, and Ace mentions, I learned how to make this in Wano. So that's really all the Wano action we got before the time skip. But after the time skip, and after we got through Fishman Island, we get to Punk Hazard, and that's when the floodgates really opened. That's when Oda really set this up. Like, okay, no. Wano is not just going to be a side island mentioned a few times, maybe it gets brought up every now and then. No, this is going to be central to the One Piece story. The Straw Hats are definitely going to visit Wano, and it's going to be a big freaking deal. So, even before they step foot on Punk Hazard, when they hear the distress call and they talk about samurai, Brook is the one that steps forward, and he talks all about how, oh yes, Wano Kuni, it's an island filled with strong samurai, and it's a place that is isolated from the rest of the world. They have a closed-door policy, much like feudal Japan did, and it's not even allied with the world government. Now, the fact is that Brook fought against Ryuma before on Thriller Bark because Ryuma stole his shadow, or rather Moria stole his shadow and put it into Ryuma. So I don't know if it's like Brook knew about Wano because of that interchange. Maybe he, I can't imagine where he would read about it because he was on a boat floating around Thriller Bark in the Florian Triangle for 50 years. So it's very likely that he knew about Wano beforehand. Brook is like 90 years old, okay? He would probably know a lot of knowledge about the world that the other Straw Hats wouldn't, just because he's more, he's more well-traveled, I guess. Hey, maybe there was like a library on the Rumbar Pirates ship, and he spent all of his... I'm just trying to make it a little bit happier for Brook, because otherwise I have to imagine he spent 50 years just staring out at the foggy sea, doing his 45 degrees shit. Like, there had to be some books or something he had to read. I mean, he didn't have eyes, yo-ho-ho-ho, but he had to have something to do. I mean, come on. But, yeah. Anyway, Brook knew about it, so he tells the rest of the crew. Then we get introduced to Kinemon during Punk Hazard and Momonosuke, and then we go to Dressrosa, and we find out about Kanjuro, and then Law, he mentions the whole thing with Kaido and their operation to take down Doflamingo, and eventually culminates in Wano and everything like that. And during Dressrosa, this is when we find out, like, yes, we're going to Wano, and that is when the hype properly began. Like, I don't know, 5 years ago? Was it like 5 years ago already? Yeah, probably, something like that, maybe longer, I don't know. Of course, after that, I remember people thinking, oh, well, after Dressrosa, I think we're gonna go to Zou, which we did, but it's like, after Zou is definitely Wano, right? But it's like, no, we're going to Totland. I'm like, oh, okay, well, Totland is only gonna be, like, 50 chapters, right? Then we're going to Wano. I'm like, nah, it's actually gonna be, like, 80-something. Like, shit, alright, well, then after that's gonna be Reverie. I'm like, damn it! So finally, after years, and after, okay, listen, Oda, he likes to build hype, or rather, the editors like to build hype and everything like that, and Oda wants to get to Wano. Oda's not sitting there in his studio in Japan being like, they think that I'm going to write Wano. After Reverie, I think we'll travel to Elbaf. I'm so evil. No. Oda wants to get to Wano, but I can imagine from Oda's perspective, he doesn't want to rush the story to get to Wano. So, there is probably a few moments where he could have rushed Totland. Like, he could have cut down on certain parts of Totland and made it seem a little bit more streamlined and hurry up and get us to Wano. But I can imagine Oda doesn't want to do that. He's like, I don't want to, have parts of my story where it's very obviously rushed just to get to another part of the story. I want to do this at the pace that I feel it's right. So I'm going to make the Totland arc, even though it might seem a little drawn out to some people, I'm going to make it the length that I am happy with. And then we're going to go to Reverie, and then we're going to go to Wano. However, this seems to be causing a little bit of a rift in the way that Oda typically lays out his arcs. Because almost always, whenever you have the One Piece story arc structure, you have the main arc, let's just say, let's just use Thriller Bark, because I already used that as an example. You have the main arc, Thriller Bark, and then after that, you have a few chapters of wrap-up and everything, and then you get into the next arc, which was Sabaody. Okay, and then after that, you got a few more arcs of, like, a buffer, and then you cut to the next arc, which is, like, Amazon Lily and Impel Down and all that stuff. That's how it works. That's how arcs usually work. Now, ever since the time skip, the arcs seem to have been getting a little longer, Dressrosa being the longest arc in all of One Piece at around 100 chapters almost exactly, from chapter 700 to 800. That was pretty much all Dressrosa. Then, Tautland, which was also pretty long. You had Zoe, which was kind of like, it was like maybe like 25 chapters. Zoe wasn't very long. But Tautland was like 80-something chapters. So that was also a pretty long arc as well. So, now we get to this little intermediary, which is Reverie, and then Wano. I originally thought, like, okay, maybe Oda's going to plan Reverie to be like a bookend, So it's like, we get a few chapters of Reverie, then Wano, and then at the end of Wano, we get the rest of Reverie. Here's the problem with that, though. Wano is going to be a ridiculously long arc. I can guarantee you. In fact, I would put money that is going to be the longest arc in One Piece. It's going to defeat Dressrosa. We're going to be in Wano for a long time. I would be extremely, extremely surprised if Wano was less than 100 chapters. It's got to at least be as long as Dressrosa, just with all the sheer hype that's been built up. Not just the hype, but all the stuff in Wano you have going on, guys. You got Zoro, you got this, you got Kinemon, you got the Kozuki clan, you got Kaido, you got the Beast Pirates, you got the Calamities that are under Kaido, you got the Shogun, you got pretty much a bunch of stuff that could tie back into Wano in some way, shape, or form. You got Kid and Hawkins and Apu that are there, probably. You got Drake, who's allied with Kaido, who's there, probably. You got a lot of shit going on. It could definitely last 100 chapters. Easy. So the problem with that bookend thing is, Reverie... I mean, look, if we're gonna ask... If you're gonna come right up to me and ask, Reverie or Wano, Matt, you gotta pick one. I'm a sucker for political mandates and discussions of the geography sort, but I'm gonna have to punch that ticket for Wano, you know what I mean? Okay, Wano for one, please. Chick, it's gonna have to go Wano. So maybe what Oda could do, and because Wano's probably gonna be a pretty long arc, and hey, maybe you're of another school of thought. Maybe you think Wano is not going to be such a long arc. It's not going to be ridiculously short. It's not going to be like the same length of like Zoe or something like that. But maybe you're sitting there thinking like, Wano, I could see that being about as long as Tautland. Maybe around that, maybe 80-some chapters. I personally don't see it like that, but maybe, possibly. I don't know. Okay, so what Oda could do, though, is he could have Wano and, building the tension and everything, maybe for a year or so, we're there, and then right when we get to the point in the arc where it looks like it's like a big moment, like Kaido rocks out and, like, punches Luffy to the ground, and everyone's like, oh my god! And it's like, what's gonna happen? And then we come back to Reverie for, like, another 4 chapters, and then we see what's going on in Reverie with the Gorosei and Ima-sama and everything like that, and then, after that concludes, then we cut back to Wano. That would be a cool way to do it, because Reverie, I mean, expectations are really high right now, the hype train is really high up the mountain, and now we're going to Wano, so yeah, that's one way it could happen. The other way is we have to sit through all of Wano until we get to Reverie, but that's not a bad thing. That's not like I'm going to be bored or anything. I'm going to be entertained. It's just like, once again, the last chapter was Reverie Begins, and now we cut away from Reverie. Or hell, who knows? Maybe this is a whole new style for Oda. Maybe this one chapter, 909, we're going to be in Wano. Maybe we'll see Wano for a few chapters. Then we cut back to Reverie for a few chapters. Then we cut back to Wano properly. Maybe this is just the teaser trailer. I don't know. The man's a mad genius. All right? But, let me just... I guess the point of this whole thing, though, the point of the whole video, really, is just... It is the eve before Wano, if you're in a certain time zone. But if not, it is the morning before Wano, or the mid-afternoon before Wano. I don't know where you're living in the world. So, I want you all to go get a drink. I'm not even kidding. Like, seriously, right now, get off your bed, get off your couch, get off your girlfriend's couch, get out of the little box you're living in outside of the 7-Eleven, huddling in front of your iPhone for warmth. I'm sorry, dude, that really sucks. No, seriously, go get a drink. Alright, I will wait. You don't even have to pause the video, alright? I have my trusty iced tea here. I'm gonna take out the straw. Screw the straw! Alright. Okay, maybe you want to pause the video right about now. Okay. Okay, good. Everybody got a drink? Alright. Let us toast to the Wano Kuni arc. May it be amazing, full of badass samurai, possibly sexy women running around with their boobs exposed in kimonos, possibly something with Kuina going on, an epic moment where Zoro clashes against Kaido, an epic moment involving Kinemon and Kanjuro having a serious fight, Law doing some epic shit, the return of Law teching, anything else, the Shogun, something really cool with him, maybe he takes out Shodai Katetsu and cuts the island in half. Maybe Smoker and Tashigi appear at some point. I am sounding like a pastor singing the hymns of God. Amen. Let us toast to Wano. Damn straight. Alright. Are you guys ready for this? We've waited long enough. Yeah. And Robin comes back. That's a huge bonus all around. Let's toast again for Robin. Go Robin. Alright. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Not really sure what the point is here. I guess I was just trying to build hype. There will be plenty of Wano videos to come in the future. I hope you enjoy my review tomorrow. I know I'm gonna have a lot of fun with it. And, yeah. Signing out, everybody. Oh, and check out the fanfic. And check out Joy Boy's video. But, yeah. Signing out.